you still creating the?
Today is July 15th, 2021. We're hot off of game number 4 of the NBA Finals. The Milwaukee Bucks even up the series. You are in the Sports Brothers podcast. Here we go. Welcome to the Sports Brothers podcast. Here's Zach. I am Mr. 411. How was your morning, Zach?
My morning is pretty early, but once again, it's always a good day when the Lord is waking you up to see another day.
Yes, sir.
How about yourself?
Amen. Amen to that, man. It's another day, another dollar to be made, and another day in the sports world. NBA Finals, man. It was great. Good. So far, it's good to great. It's 2-2. It looks like we're guaranteed at least 6 games and a possible 7th. Today, on today's show, is me and you, Zach, but we also have a special guest for today.
Yes, we do. Very special.
And without further ado, we'll bring him on. His name is Kawhi. What's happening, man?
What's
What
good,
up?
Brothas?
Nothing
What
too
is
much.
good? What is good?
Man, it's good.
And
bro.
I see you
Good to
have.
see you.
I see you have all the beard hair there, and the gray.
Wealth of knowledge. Now, was it worth anything? I don't know, but it's knowledge.
A lot of knowledge there, man. We're gonna pick your brain today, man. Suns fall to the Bucks. Series is tied 2-2. Fellas, let's chop it up about it. What was your take on it? We'll start with the guest of honor, Coy. What's up, man? What you think about Game 4?
This NBA season, I would actually say the playoffs is nothing like I expected. To be honest, who thought the Suns was going to be here? Who thought the Lakers were going to lose Davis?
We'll say I did not, since I had them on.
The Nets, KD gave a valiant effort, but he died out. The Hawks of all teams making it to the division finals.
Yeah.
This is helter skelter. And then we watched the first 2 games. Like, oh, this is a wrap. We all just thought this is a wrap. Bucks go home. Giannis he still can't shoot free throws, but Giannis is proving that maybe the hype is worth it, you know? So, and I'm not the biggest basketball fan, but I do pay attention. And I'm actually paying more attention to this playoff than other playoffs because it's 2 teams that's out of the blue, which is always cool. And you just don't know what to expect. Because I guarantee we watch Game 5. Well, I will say this. If the Bucks win Game 5, my whole prediction is gone. It's
Okay.
gone. The Bucks win another. They go out there and finish and win a game. It's a wrap. Because I think after the last 2 games, Phoenix acting a little shell shock. Your boy Chris Paul got his card pulled. So I'm just waiting to see what happens next.
Yeah, man. I think that you hit it on the head about the unpredictability of this season, or this playoff in particular. It's about a battle of attrition, and it's really testing a lot of teams' depth chart. And here we are. Zach, you want to jump in on this?
Well, I think the first thing that we need to recognize, which we haven't, is that Giannis is a historically great player. I mean, he's 26. He has 2 MVPs already back to back, and he has a Defensive Player of the Year award. Whatever we think of his game, I think on average the past few years, he's averaged 27, 28 plus points a game, along with 11, 12 plus boards a game. It doesn't look packaged as a great player, because for me, I like to see him play on the block with his back to the basket a little bit more. But he's a great player. it's showing in this series that once he kind of got past that game one and he is fully healthy, he's taking DeAndre Ayton out of the game. DeAndre Ayton was my pick to be Finals MVP because I thought he was going to be somewhere around 20 points every game, 10 plus boards, and he'd do in the smaller bucks. That hasn't happened. Giannis has been the one doing everybody in. I think my second observation is Chris Paul is 36 years old, and he's playing like a guy that's 36 years old. He is having some difficulties right now, and he has scored less points each game. He's got to figure it out, and he may not be able to figure it out because it could just be he don't have the legs. And like I said, he's 36 out there playing with young guys. Basketball, to a degree, is a young man's game. Probably my last observation I'll go with, Drew Holiday is going to decide who wins this series. If he just has one damn game where he actually plays, and he's probably doing a great job defensively. I'm going to guess. I'm going to hope. But he was like 4 for 20 last night, I think. If he can just have a game where he is efficient and, it helps out offensively, the Bucks are winning this game because they can't do anything with Giannis. I'm not sure what Middleton will do, but the Bucks are winning this series if Drew Holiday and his compadres play, because Giannis is going to keep being Giannis, and he is just like it shouldn't be a doubt that he is a great player. I get people love Booker, and I know everybody wants Chris Paul to get this, but Giannis is just the best player in the series, like bar none.
Everyone wants to get Chris Paul a ring.
Well, I think mostly people have a sentimental thing for him, but Chris Paul has been terrible, and yeah, he's been terrible.
I've always had this thing about people always like the greats got to have a ring. No, you don't. If you don't win one, you don't get a ring. And it's like they like this. They like to. Oh, let's. He's at the end of his career, twilight. Let's get him a ring and all this other duel. Nah. Dude,
that's what the sports world tends to do. We tend to draw these storylines and things like that. It would be great to see him win the championship if he earns it, and he's really gonna have. He really has to earn this one. Drew Holiday is really playing defense. I do agree with you, Zach, that Drew Holiday is going to decide this series, but I believe he's deciding this series on the defensive end. I mean, if he can harass Chris Paul and keep him at a 7 points, 5 turnover, and continue to force him to turn the ball over, I think that's a win more so than any bucket that he scores. And Giannis is the man in this series. There's just no question about that. He's effective on the defensive and offensive end, being a league MVP and a NBA defensive player of the year just recently. This guy is really taking care of both ends, and this should be a player that everybody should get behind. He's a leader. He plays hard. He gets paid. He does everything that I know Zach wants out of a guy that's getting the bag, if you will.
Giannis, I would still say Giannis still has the same knocks that he's going to always have until he develops his game. Right now,
well, he's a young guy. He should get better.
Okay, how many years have Giannis been in the league?
Oh, he's been around for a while, yeah.
Well, Mr. 411 can probably tell you better. He was like, he'd be like a baseball developmental prospect. He was not like a LeBron coming in where you thought he had it all. He really, like, to a degree, he's learning it.
LeBron, okay, you're going to use LeBron for this. When LeBron came to the league, LeBron game at year 3 and year 6 were 2 different games. Okay. Giannis, because what's going to happen to Giannis that we always see when we have these highly athletic guys that's got all the potential skill in the world, until they develop those other abilities that they need to become a veteran superstar, he's gonna have this run as long as he can athletically keep up. But everybody knows Father Time is undefeated.
Oh, absolutely.
We already see that he's taking injuries as it is because of how physical he plays. He's going to have to develop other parts of his game to take the load off his body. Because right now, Giannis is a player that plays, he muscles everything.
Yeah,
That's
no
all.
doubt about it.
That's it. He muscles everything. On the offensive end of the ball, of the game, he comes down the lane and he's just finna just smash. He's Hulk smash. That's what he is.
Yeah.
Until he develop a solid mid-range game, until he can develop the fact that more times than not, because he's so athletic, when the ball is in his hand, he's going to have a physical mismatch and he should be able to back somebody down and then play with back to the basket. Or if they decide to put a bigger guy on him, he should be able to work him on the perimeter. Giannis just goes right, left, cross up, dunk.
Oh,
Well, this is going to be a loose. I was just going to say real quick that he's Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan was a loose translation. The first version of Mike before he was like winning all the like Jordan didn't have the refined just that he was this great shooter. Jordan was a athletic beast, getting to the bucket, dunking on people, and then his game developed. I believe Giannis will continue to develop.
But see, Jordan game developed in. Jordan always had a mid-range game, whether he was at North Carolina, whether he was, and Giannis is a more athletic and talented Pippen. He's what Pippen always wanted to be honest.
I mean, I guess that could be correct if you want to go that way, maybe.
He's got that athletic aptitude of a Pippen times 2. More athletic, bigger, quicker, and actually can be alpha. Whether Pippen want to talk all this stuff and then he get old and he's got the revisionist history of Pippen's always been a beta, and he always will be a beta. But now, so Giannis is an alpha, but he's got to add those things to his game. It's just like anybody with their craft have got to always constantly work on their craft.
Well, he's worked on it. Like if you looked at him when he first came into the league to look at him now, he has definitely worked on his game. Now, some of it could be too. Look, I go work on my game. I still can't shoot a jump shot like that, shoot the three like that. Sometimes you just are what you are. So he may not develop any more than that.
Yeah. I think we're hitting the nail on the head, but we're looking at it present and future. In the future, to extend his career, to continue to I mean, there's always room. Magic Johnson, as great as he was when he first came into the NBA, jumped right into the league championship. Leading the team when Kareem goes down with the injury. But even he years later developed that baby hook. He added that to his repertoire. Kobe Bryant, who was super talented and early in his career, playing in the finals, playing with Shaq, even he developed his game to a whole nother level by getting with Akeem Olajuwon and working on his post game. So, players can win now. If you're fortunate enough to be like Giannis right now, and you can win now, and which he is doing because he's been at the cusp of making it to the NBA Finals, in the championship hunt, and he's doing that early on. But later on, he does need to add maybe a jump hook or some sort of refined post up game. But even without that, his defensive ability, his offensive athleticism, if you will, is just off the charts right now, and they're winning with what he has right now. So with that said, guys, who's gonna take Game 5?
Well, if I'm going first, it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick the Bucks. I go back to thankfully they played somewhat smarter the past few games, but it's hard to pick them because I don't know if they're gonna go out there and try and shoot 43s, and Giannis is gonna take like 10 of them. think he's only taken 2 the past 2 games, which has been, each game, that's okay. He's doing a heat check. He's living in the paint. Are they going to live in the paint? Is Drew Holiday going to show up? The Bucks, to me, are the more talented team. They're the better team. But how will they play? I can't trust how they will play. Game 5 is pivotal. If you had me put anything to me on it, I would somehow say that the Suns figure out their woes somewhat. Chris Paul gets his legs under him. He guts out a performance in Game 5, and they go back to Milwaukee up 3-2. But I would not be shocked at all if Drew Holiday goes out there, has a 30-point game, and the Bucks take Game 5. I don't know what I'm gonna get from the Bucks. So I know I'm waffling, but it's just the Bucks. They're liable to do any damn thing. They could go get beat by 40. And I wouldn't be shocked. And then they could go win by 20, and I wouldn't be shocked either.
Yeah. What say you, Kawhi?
I say, actually, what I've noticed about the Bucks, they are a downhill team. Meaning, once they get momentum, I'm going the Bucks because they're if you can break their momentum, we've seen it years past, we've seen it this season. Usually, but when they get to front running, the athleticism, the energy that they play with, it carries from game to game. So, if I'm going to go the Bucks because right now they got what they need. Whereas the Sun, they're a grind. I mean, yes, they're okay. They're West Coast, flashy, small ball, shoot threes, style, all the fancy stuff. Perimeter game, but. They can, but I've from what I've seen of them, they can grind it. It's not the old traditional grinded like the Pistons where it's brutal. Right. It's more of like they can slow it down. They can run set pieces. They can pick roll, jump shot. That's their game, and they can deal with the ebbs and flows. But when the Bucks get that head steam on them, unless you break that momentum. They'll beat you. They'll just pound you and physically beat you up. Mm-hmm. That is what they do. They run you, and it's like they're always there.
Yeah. Well, man, for me, this series, man, is wide open. I'm still rolling with my pick, my original pick, which is the Suns in 6. So in order for that to happen, Phoenix needs to take Game 5, and I believe they will. I think just like how we have to erase our mind, erase that image of Game 1 and Game 2 when the series shifted to Milwaukee, we need to do the same thing here and kind of erase the image of the last 2 games and just remember that this is going to Phoenix, and so their home crowd is going to be hype. They're going to bring that energy, and it's going to feed off into the rest of that team. At least for Game 5. Now, it's going to be a tough matchup, but what I think is going to happen is Phoenix will make the adjustment. They will set screens a lot higher to free Chris Paul. I understand what Chris Paul is. When you become the old man in the gym sometime and you got more athletic players on you and guarding you, you need that screen. I need somebody like a Kawhi or a Zach to set me a screen and get me open and shake me loose from this guy instead of me doing it on my own. Like I used to back in the day, or like Chris Paul used to do with ease, and because he's an elite defender, he's very good at playing perimeter defense. In reference to Drew Holiday, so I think they'll make that adjustment, and I think that the other guys will make their shot in more. And I want to touch on something else too, real quick, guys. We talked about Giannis and how he may need or may not need to develop his post game. If we look at Ayton is having a statistical monster playoff. He's doing a great job. However, we're not seeing him like getting the ball in the post a lot, and we don't see him with a refined post game at this stage. And that's something that he could develop too. And we should see that in the future. But he's a young guy as well. So just keep.
Well, the only thing I'm going to say about Aiden, though, is I kind of like Cal was saying, the Phoenix system, I don't think they're emphasizing him as a option with that, because Aiden could be that like he was in the first game and other thing. Whereas with Giannis, he is the number one option for the Bucks. Aiden is not that option. If Aiden was, he's proven that he can do all of that stuff in the post. He just has to get his number called.
And to be fair to Aiden, he has a premier defender on him. So
that's true.
That's the difference in the performance of him in the last few games. He's got Giannis on him. I mean, we can tell. We can all talk about the flaws in Giannis' offensive game, but if you ask KD, you ask LeBron, you ask anyone in the league, I don't want them problems every night of him defending me, because he instantly becomes a disruption to each and every one of those guys.
Oh, no doubt about it.
That block on the Aiden dunk a dunk attempt last night shows what Giannis can do defensively. Like, he is, like, that's why I understand what you're saying, Mr. 411. But the great thing for the Bucks is, if for the rest of this series, it seems after game one, they clearly have the best player no matter what. So it's just a matter of what his teammates do, whereas the other guys are giving you up and down performances for the Suns.
But not only that, we talked about this a little bit last night, but the Lopez played 19 minutes last night. So Coach Bud is clearly went with what we discussed before, and that's Giannis playing center. And that has really changed this series, changed the direction of this series, because he can recover. And that great example is that play where he blocked the alley-oop. But, yes, Giannis is a great player on both ends of the court. Great player on both ends.
Can we do something is that when we say they moved Giannis to center, no, they didn't move Giannis to center. They're playing 3 forwards. The new NBA, they love to try to take this new ball that they play and do traditional roles. Giannis is not playing center. He just happened to be the biggest man on that defense. That's all that is. Okay, it's not.
I would agree.
The tradition of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. No, you may have 1, 2 threes and a 4-4, or 4-4, or 4 twos and a 3. I mean, So yes, I get what you're saying, to make it fit your brain or fit our brains. We're gonna say there's 5 players. There's 2 guards, 2 forwards, and center. He's not playing a center. A center is on the block. Is working the paint. That ain't what Giannis is going to do. He's not going to be that. But defensively, rotation, you got to. Welcome to the new NBA. I know what you're going to say. But
welcome to it.
But I get what you're saying.
It's been there for a couple years.
It's been there for a lot of years. I mean, but you got an athletic guy that can actually move and actually do the transition and play off the pick. That he's technically the 5, but Giannis is not a 5. He's never going to be a 5. You go put a true center on Giannis and let him bang on him all night. Giannis gonna tell you, hey, this 5 stuff ain't for me, coach. As athletic as he is.
Well, yeah. If they had any in the NBA, absolutely, he'd be like Anthony Davis. I don't want no parts of the 5.
Yeah,
want to be on that outside. But yeah, the game is evolved, if you will. But he is definitely playing the anchor position for the Bucks. In some people's mind, the center position. And but yeah, that's really the key here, man. It's a lot. We talked about a lot of different things here. It's going to be a tough series. I still think it's going 6. Does anybody have it going 7?
Bucks win. They're going 7.
I have it going 6 the other way. I think I didn't know Giannis would be not only playing this series but 100% this series. I got the Bucks.
Okay.
Be it 6 or 7, the Bucks should win this. As long as Drew Holiday give him one game offensively, Drew. One game, and you guys get the championship.
All right. Well, look, we just Coy, you just talked about the center position, if you will. And speaking of a team that, in my opinion, doesn't have a center and is not taking care of the middle, it's Team USA. So
USA
we
basketball.
we've had some discussions off camera about Team USA, a little bit on camera about them, but one person we haven't heard their thoughts on Team USA men's basketball team. Let me emphasize that because the women's team, in the Olympic play has really been dominant. How about Team USA men's, man? What's your take on the team, man?
I think I mentioned in your live last night that the best players that want to play. Now, I've always had this thing about all-star teams not necessarily mean success because you have to deal with chemistry. You have to deal with, okay, I got all these guys like Team USA. We got a bunch of 2s and 3s, but no 4s and 5s. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but then you got a bunch of people that need the ball in their hand, but you don't have the ancillaries because we're not gonna bring all stars. Ancillaries are not the all stars.
Yep.
Like for instance, Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
He's an ancillary piece. He's not the piece for them guys. You know what I'm saying? You don't have those pieces when you play All-Star games. Team USA, you were talking about the times the Team USA lost. If you look at some of the teams that quote unquote lost, it wasn't the fact that Team USA didn't have the talent. Because one of those teams that lost was a team with Iverson. The one that lost.
Yep,
LeBron, Wade, right. Tim Duncan.
Right. Yes, and they were all. So you have all this talent. Well, and then if you think about it, you had Wade, Duncan, Iverson,
Marbury.
But he was there. But I mean, you have.
That actually sounds like your team is losing when you say some of them names.
He was an all-star level player.
Iverson and Starberry.
But what I'm saying is you had 3 of those guys considered top 10 talents of all time in the NBA. When we go Wade is probably 11 or 12, right? Bron.
Well, they were young guys too at that time.
Talent wise, Duncan was Duncan. I believe ever since he was 5 years old. He played the same game in the NBA that he played at Wake Forest. Duncan was just Duncan. Okay.
Yep.
LeBron, you say he was young, but remember in his first few seasons in the NBA, LeBron was leading a team one-man game to the NBA Finals. So young, I don't want to hear that. And Iverson is Iverson. So it has to be more than just getting the best talent out there, throwing them on the court, and thinking they're going to win. We see
these teams are poorly constructed at times.
And also Larry Brown at that time was.
I don't even want to. Yeah, whatever with Larry Brown.
And Larry Brown was the type of coach that was maybe not all-star player friendly, if you will. And so, there were a lot of those players didn't mesh with him as well.
I'm going to put my team together and let it run. You know what I mean? You look at it like, another thing. Remember when quote unquote 92 we had to go with the green team?
Yep.
Right? Do you know if they had not did the dream team and played college players, you would have had Anthony Hardaway, Shaquille O'Neal, Lonzo Mourning, Kristen Layton, technically. So it's not always, but we panic and say, you know what? Let's go nuclear. That's the U.S. thing. Yeah. You beat us. Let's go nuclear. If this team don't come back, win next go around, we're gonna have everybody in the top 12 of the NBA are gonna galvanize and run to this team, and it's gonna be all about pride. When it's more or less the world as teams go, they gel better. They actually have more chemistry than we have. We have, let me go pick the top 10, 12 available all-stars that we have. Let's grab them, throw them out on the court. And these dudes in the games don't always mesh. But these are two.
If we got regular normal dudes, I would say we got regular normal dudes and just had them train up for 3-4 years, like we kind of do with the track and everything, we'd still be able to win. It's as you're saying, we poorly construct. Like we want to get all the stars, and I think you kind of hit it when you said we had 2s and 3s out there, 2s, 3s, and 1s.
Mm-hmm.
No, and then nobody wants to do any of the grunt work.
Well, we don't have. There's no center on this team right now as of today. And I know we talk
Is there
about
a center in the NBA?
Well, you need one when you playing teams like
Hold on.
Australia and teams like France.
Is a
You
true
don't have it.
American center in the NBA.
We don't.
Well, yeah, that's what I say because we don't have any, do we? Like, who's the center in the NBA?
I mean, Towns would be nice to have. Towns would be nice to have on this team.
Towns?
Yeah.
Paper Tiger.
It'd be nice to have him on this team. But he actually can play in the post, and he's 6
Paper Tiger.
He's definitely. You can call him that, but he'll be playing with other great players on this roster. So there's no size. I mean, Bam is 6'9", and then the other interior player is Draymond Green at 6'7".
But I think that's what Cal is talking about. Like when you say you bring a guy like Towns ain't like he's saying bring guys that actually do a role. Like he's saying a center. Towns ain't no center. Towns wants to get out there and shoot jumpers and play off and nest and pretty and everything. Bring a real center. I don't know who that would be, but bring somebody that's a actual real center.
I think you all need to go back and look at some of Towns' film. He can play in the interior as well.
Yes, I will look at all of his playoff film he has.
I'm in a real old school. You need a Duckworth. You need a Bill Winding. You don't need a star center. You need a center. Towns is a paper tiger. He's gonna want just as much limelight as everybody else. And I'm sorry, he's a paper tiger. He ain't that dude. He gets.
He don't have to be that dude on this team. He just needs to be.
No,
he needs to be
you're
6'11".
No. You have to be 6'11", and you have to have some true bite. Towns to me don't have the bite that I would like out of what you need on the team. You need a tough guy.
Jimmy Butler let you know he didn't have no damn bite.
Exactly.
No,
there we go.
Jimmy Butler could be on this roster because he plays two-way player right there. That would be a good player to have on this team.
But Mr. 411, see what you're saying right there? That, like you said, they just need him on the team.
You keep adding pieces
because
what I'm trying to say is you don't need a Towns because quote unquote he's probably the premier big man that you can see out there to put on his team. You don't need the premier big man. You need a big man that can do the work. It doesn't like maybe grab you about 7-8 boards, hard fouls, and control the paint. And it's not all about the dominance of a big man. It's all about it's about give me the grit and the personality of. I'll give you a prime example. Mark Eden is considered one of the best. Well, not offensively, but he's considered a Hall of Fame center type cat, right?
Right.
He had the most garbage. He had the most garbage ass game I ever seen in my life. I couldn't stand that dude. But you know what? If you played against him, if you went in the paint with him, you realize that I want no parts of this big man. You need a big man, not a little man in a big man body. That's what they. So you got.
Yes.
So Towns is that type of cat.
Yes.
And you get some of those you get one of them foreign because like Americans we ain't the bullies that we used to be because there's hoods all over the world. So you go in there and think you're a big bad American and you're gonna bully one of these 6'11", 7-foot dudes from across the world and he's really living that life. He's like, Towns is a paper tiger. Sorry.
And I understand what you guys are saying on that, but he don't have to be the only big on the roster. Like
that's what I'm saying.
What happened in one of these first two games is that when all those jump shooters and they're all trying to get shots and they're not getting in rhythm because all of them are used to having a lot of shot attempts. Where's the guy?
ask
Where's the
you.
guy? But where's the guy that you can say, okay, the shots are not going right now, but we can give it to this guy so that he can at least
Well,
give us
that's the
something
whole
from the
point of this
inside.
convo.
Yeah, and
Okay,
that's why I'm saying
That's
Towns
that's
could
the
be
whole
one of those
point. That the
guys
way they
on the
construct the
roster,
team.
and he could be one of those
okay.
players.
TJ, you're analytics guy, right? Right.
He
Little
is
bit of
not
both.
at all.
All right.
He is not at
Norm,
all.
little
All right.
bit.
What I'm getting at is okay. What I'm getting at is okay. The U.S. basketball team is going the same way of what we've done as far as how we build teams, how the NBA hire coaches, how they hire front office people, and everything else. They've come to the conclusions that we can shoot, we can get a team that can shoot X amount of threes. We don't have to worry
Yep.
about the twos, right?
A lot of
Right?
teams are going that
Yep.
direction, have gone that direction. Yeah,
And it's filtered through into baseball was the birth of the crap.
yeah,
The Billy Ball and all this stuff. Then it's
right.
filtered into
Oakland
basketball
A's.
now. They come into the basketball phase of doing the same stuff that okay, I don't even say. I need if I can get me some guys that can shoot these threes at a reasonably decent percentage, I can just outscore you just by playing this. Okay, so we're in there, and now you have the Olympic versions of the analytics basketball game where you got a bunch of twos and threes. You're thinking, okay, I'll get Lillard, I'll get KG,
Yep.
and I'll get that ilk. And I know that on their worst day, one of the two is gonna shoot me into this game. All right. Well, that don't always work because there's the human factor, and then there's this thing called momentum, and then this thing that's called just the fact that, dude, you just ain't finna come in here and shoot the gym. I tell anybody, in my best athletic days, I was not a great basketball player, but I was athletic physically enough, and I figured out real quickly that you can be the best basketball player in the world, but I'm athletic enough that I start putting my hands on you. You start getting uncomfortable, and all this other analytics stuff don't work no more. And the
Yes.
and like you said last night, the world game, it's really the international game / European game is totally different than
It's majorly
the
different.
NBA.
Yep.
It's different than we play ball
Yeah.
differently.
That's right. Yeah, man. Well, I hope the USA is listening to us and think about revamping their roster. We're going to shift over to our final topic for today. We're in a hurry up offense mode here in a moment, but before we do that, I'm gonna name some centers in the NBA, and you tell me when there's a great American center. You got Jokic, Embiid, Robert Williams, Valanciunas, Capella, Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, Vucevic, Bam, Montrezl Harrell, Enes Kanter, Porzingis, Yusef Nurkic, DeAndre Ayton, Jared Allen, Christian Wood. So
Ayton.
just to throw some names around, right? But he's from the Bahamas, so does that count for Team USA?
No, but here's the thing. I mean, but you think about I had this experience of taking my child and going to an AAU, just getting him familiar when he first got up here and just letting him go play AAU ball. And the AAU coach was like, "Hey, he's probably gonna grow a little bit more. But this is kid ball, so he's big for a kid." He's like, "Yeah, but first thing he was like, we got to teach him how to play off the dribble and play outside."
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? He's got to develop this jumper. He's got to do this. And I'm like, be honest with you, the kid, his direction is going to be toward another direction. I just got him out here so he can start having some interaction. Put that boy down in the block and let him bang.
Yeah.
We don't bang. We don't have kids. Hey, Coach. Joe Crow's here. All right, boss. We don't have these kids banging. We don't believe in letting these kids bang anymore. You know what I mean?
Very good
That
point.
would be correct.
Hey guys, speaking of bang, this guy right here, look at the bottom of the screen. I mean, look at the banner
Kawhi.
here. Speaking of bang, this gentleman has been banged up for a long time now.
For 6 decades. Fellas.
He's making a bag. But what's your guys' take on Kawhi before we get out of here?
We'll let Cal give his because it looks like he's got a role.
Yeah, and Kawhi is a hellified and he is a top 5 player. But the thing why he'll never be the top player is because Kawhi just has demands to be put on a pitch count. It's whatever. When one game, when he gives you one, you gotta understand that's one less you got. It's 1-1 with him. That's Kawhi. I'm lukewarm. Some days I'm like, that's that dude. You know what I'm saying? Because he'll have those moments where he'll say, you know what? Like he'll say it like when he was at Toronto. You know what? Damn this, I got Giannis because this is finna stop. Then you'll have these mental like, is Kawhi here today? Is he having? It's like he almost has like 4 or 5 personalities. He's like good Kawhi, bad Kawhi. I don't care Kawhi. I'm in it. You just don't know. But physically, that's what I mean. I'm all over the place with this dude because he seemed to be all over the place. Physically, he has to be on a pitch count. He has to have his emotional support. This dude takes a lot. But y'all, I gotta actually get out of here because I gotta go meet with my boss.
Well, that was a great way for you to close out, Corey. We appreciate you being on.
We appreciate it.
And you tune in.
Brothers.
You tune in
sir.
And check out what Jack
have a good one, Cal.
All right.
Later, Cal.
Later, brothers.
Well, for me, it's easy. Kawhi is the anti-Giannis, where Giannis has gone out there, been the man on the team, has earned the 2 MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year. Kawhi is built off of winning the championships and those 2 finals MVPs. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, if he didn't have that, would we be thinking he's the greatest player in the world or any of those things? And it's great for the playoffs, but we can kind of put that around really one run in the playoffs because the run with the Spurs, he was part of a collective. We talked about this before, and I said I don't think the Clippers should re-sign him. He's probably going to opt into his contract, so they don't have an option on that. But Kawhi's okay. And I'm not trying to bash him or anything like that. He's a great player. He's but is he a Clyde Drexler? I mean, I guess technically he is because he helped Toronto get to the finals and win a championship. But being a Clyde Drexler, and I love Clyde Drexler, one of my favorite players, is different than being Akeem Olajuwon. Because would you rather have Clyde or would you rather have Akeem? And I think Kawhi is somewhere around there, and that's what is going on with him. And the Clippers have to make a decision that they don't really get much choice this year, but after this year, they got to decide what they're going to do with him. And he's already shown too that he and his team are going to do what they feel is best. I mean, look, and I don't want to I don't want anybody to think that is the wrong approach because it's his career. He's got millions out there to make. He's going to get, I don't know if this will be his last contract, but this could probably be this should be his last big contract. And if he's up here setting himself up and they're setting themselves up so he can get these $200 million, almost $300 million contracts, how can anybody have a problem with that? But as the organization, I'm not sure I want a guy like that because, as Cal said, he's on the pitch count. He already lets you know I ain't playing back-to-backs. And from this year in the playoffs, if he doesn't feel right, he doesn't gut through it. Or it doesn't seem that he does. He needs to be as close to perfect as he can be. Or maybe he's just injury prone. And sometimes we don't want to say that. That could be the thing too with him.
Yeah, I think he falls into that category of Anthony Davis, Kawhi, guys that even Chris Paul throughout his career, gentlemen who, they're great players. You have to have them. And the ironic thing about the 3 players I just named, they in their historical standpoint, they're great on both ends of the court, defensively and offensively. But that injury, man, that injury lurks, and I do believe he is going to opt in. I think the Clippers will move forward with him, but it's just going to be one of them things where gonna be on pins and needles, man, every season, and that's just what it is. I mean, they decided to go that route, and this is what you get when you do it. So I think he'll still be there, but the injury, man, is going to keep him from being that.
Well, I got a question for you, Mr. 411.
Oh, what the injury thing to Kawhi? It's kind of reminded me of a Bernard King. Bernard King was a player at one time that was on the cusp of being one of those guys that you could say, oh, this may be one of the best players, period. And the injuries kept him from moving into that echelon of the greats of the great. But yes, go ahead, Zach. What you have for me?
I was going to say, has this been a failure for the Clippers? Because he's going to be out. I guess if everything goes normal, he could be back December, but he could be out until the playoffs. So if they don't win next year, has this been a failure for the Clippers? Because you pretty much mortgaged everything to get Kawhi and to get Paul George because Kawhi wanted Paul George.
Yeah, it would be a failure. The end game, because the end game of acquiring Kawhi was that the Clippers were going to win a championship. Unlike some other franchise, especially like the Lakers, as long as the Clippers win one championship, that's the win. And just like the Raptors, they have that one championship, and that's it. It's good. They're good for the next 20 years or so. And so, yes, it would be a fail. The Clippers need to get a championship out of the Kawhi Leonard era, if you will. They need to get that one. But it's going to be tough now with the injury, with the consistent injuries to Kawhi.
And outside of the injuries and everything, personality-wise, I'm like, do you want him? Is his approach to basketball, not just the actual playing, but the kind of the business side, the other thing, what you want in your organization when you're paying him a whole bunch of money? Like if you're paying him Patrick Beverly money, I'm sure it's probably not a big deal. But when you're paying him Kobe Bryant money, there's different expectations.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, totally. And I know something that you would agree with, Zach, is for people to check us out on Twitter, on YouTube, and on the IG.
That is right. Check it out.
There you go. That's that swag I was talking about. The Sportz Brothas. So that's on IG, YouTube, and Twitter. Get at us. Get at your boys. How that sound? Get at your boys.
Yes, Karl Anthony Towns, get after us. Karl Anthony Towns, tell me how I'm wrong about what you bring to the table.
Yes, sir.
I got no problem with that.
Yeah, I like for him to show up. But catch us on Tuesday and Thursday mornings as well.
Hey,
7 a.m.
He feels different. I would love for him to explain. Yes. 7 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Mountain.
You definitely said that with your chest, that 5 a.m. Mountain.
Well, I want people in the Mountain Time Zone to know where they can catch us. They might not have understood.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll get that YouTube feed.
If I was on the other side of Texas, I would say if I was on the other side of Texas, it'd be 6 a.m. That'd be a little bit better, but we'll do it. But at least I'm not out west where it'd be 4 a.m. So we good.
Yes, sir. All right. I guess we're gonna see each other again on the post game 5. Zach, we missed you after game 4, but we understood where you were, and give the fans an update on Zach Attack out there on the basketball court.
Well, honestly, we lost by 10 last night, unfortunately. 4-minute mark, we were down 4, and this would be where Mr. 411 helped me keep things in perspective. We had we get a steal. Our guy is going up court. They grab him. We had a guy in front of him at the basket. Clear path foul. I'm calling it. And the ref didn't call clear path foul. They said it was I think we were in the penalty, so they just 1-and-1. Our guy, of course, he missed the front end of the 1-and-1, and we go back. They we trade baskets, and they come back and hit 2 threes. But talked to him after the game. He said, "Yeah." He said, "It wasn't my call. I didn't see him back there, but it should have been a clear path." Because I thought, well, it's clear path foul, an NBA call, but he said he should have called it. We didn't see it. He said it was my guy's call. He didn't get it. Don't know if that would have changed the game, but 2 shots, get the ball. Maybe we, if nothing else, cut that to 2 or 3. I think that kind of, at that point, momentum changed for us, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, man.
We didn't handle it from a maturity standpoint.
Okay. All right. Through the adversity, you know what I mean? But that's okay, man. Y'all
yes. Or we focused on the refs instead of continue focus on playing the game.
Okay. All right. Well, lesson learned there, man. We appreciate
that. That's
what
happens when you play with young guys.
Yeah. You got to mature, man. Got to mature. Well, look, man, we're going to get together again. Game 5. All the listeners out there, we appreciate you tuning in. Check us out. Check the replays out.
Yes, we do.
Give us your comments. And we will see you guys on the other side. For Zach, I'm Mr. 4-on-1. Have a great rest of your day.
Have a wonderful day, people.